Merci beaucoup, Père Castellanos. My name is Davis Joseph. I am the son of Migen DIBRA. I am 24 years old. I was born and raised in Montreal. I'm currently completing a PhD on the fundamental mechanisms and treatments of neurological diseases under the supervision of Dr. Sandberg, world-renowned researcher at McGill University's Faculty of Medicine. My mother was very proud of this. I wish I could have met all of you on this day under better circumstances. Unfortunately, this is the worst day of my life, because this is the last time I will ever see my mother, who I love dearly. I loved her more than anything in this world. And as you can see, I spared no expense for this funeral, because in my eyes, she was a queen, and she deserved a funeral fit for a queen. The living hell my family had to go through in this time, I would not wish on my worst enemy. My mother, who was 50 years old, had to endure the pain of feeling her organs fail one by one until she finally closed her eyes for the last time. I, who was my mother's only child and who was very close to my mother, to say the least, will probably never recover from this. Her passing is like a scar I will have to carry for the rest of my life. My grandmother, Tina, God bless you, who is 80 years old, had to watch her only child draw her last breath. My father, who was married to my mother for 30 years, had to watch his wife pass away. I loved her with all my heart and soul, more than anything in this world, like I said. She was like a guardian angel to me. And we stand today in the house of God, and the primary theme across the Bible is that of suffering. No one has suffered more than Jesus Christ himself. He too died at a very young age of 33, and so did his apostles. John 15:18, if the world hates you, understand that it hated me before it hated you. The Lord gives his toughest battles to the greatest amongst his children. My mother had immense suffering and a terrible battle to endure. She was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 32 and had to fight this disease for 18 years. 18 years. Going through surgery after surgery, chemotherapy after chemotherapy, radiotherapy after radiotherapy. Be that as it may, I stand in front of you today not simply to mourn my mother, but to celebrate her life. Jude 1:2, mercy, peace, and love be yours in abundance. I have never met anyone who had love in abundance like my mother. She was so joyful and had such a positive spirit no matter how much she was in pain, until the very end. In fact, thank you, Dr. Diana Vukovic, a brilliant chemist who is here today with us and who knew my mother very well, said it perfectly to me yesterday. Your mother was truly amazing. Her smile would light a room, and we could all tell how much she loved you and how proud she was of you. Also, during her short life, my mother accomplished so much despite her battle. She was, as you can see on screen to my right, an LLB, a JD, an LLM, an LLD, and a PhD in law. She got all these degrees at the University of Montreal and also studied at New York University. She was a specialist in both civil and common law. She graduated top of her class in law when obtaining her bachelor's degree at the University of Montreal. After obtaining her JD and her master's in law, she went on to write and defend her PhD thesis. Her 700-page PhD thesis focused on improving workers' rights during corporate mergers and acquisitions. Her work and publications helped significantly improve workers' rights in Canada. She also worked at the Court of Appeals and wrote Le juge unique de la Cour d'appel et un guide de ses fonctions. It is the legal guide on which all Court of Appeal judges rely on to do their work today and will continue to rely on for decades to come. During her stay at the Court of Appeals, Honorable Judge Louise Otis named her the best and brightest jurist I ever met. Despite being dedicated to her career, Migen DIBRA was first and foremost a mother. In my eyes, the greatest mother to ever walk the earth. Always by my side, always telling me how much she loved me, and always giving me the right advice. She will forever be in my heart. I will read to you a few sentences of the last message she sent me before passing away, even though it will be painful for me. I could not have asked for a better son, and for my efforts being better spent. You succeeded, and I am so proud of you. Caring for you has been the greatest joy in my life. We loved each other very much, and we always will. If I die one day, I want you to focus on your work, no matter how big the pain is. Interestingly, we have two statues, the statues of two saints in this church, Joan of Arc to my right, and the Virgin Mary to my left. I feel that these two remarkable women represent my mother very well. Strong and brave like the Maid of Orleans, but filled with endless kindness and love like Notre Dame. And the pain of losing loved ones is unbearable. But the pain of losing a child is deadly. Very few people will ever have to face the horror that my grandmother faced. We have a couple here who lost their 11-year-old son. His name was Yuri. I used to play with him at the park when I was a kid. Mr. Arthur Jadede and Miss Brizida Jadede, may your son rest in peace. My dear mother and Yuri are looking down on us and smiling. If I had to summarize all the 50 years of my mother's life, it would be in one word: sacrifice. When innocent people were wrongfully accused of crimes or caught up in highly difficult civil cases, and they did not have the means to pay for a lawyer, my mother would defend them free of charge. My mother sacrificed everything for me, as well as for you, and she asked for nothing in return. I, on the other hand, have but one simple request for all of you. I ask you to stand. Stand up for her as she has stood up for you. Thank you. I have so many people to thank for all the love and support that you have given me and my family during this difficult time. First and foremost, I thank all of you for being here and showing respect for my mother. We will be hosting a reception after the ceremony at 4:15. You are all welcome to join. I wish you all the best. I wish you good fortune, success, and most importantly, good health. Thank you.